Let's talk more about Bridgewater, because you do some things that are really radically different at your company than other companies. Literally, it's called radical transparency. What is that?
Well, in one sentence, my Bridgewater is most importantly an idea meritocracy, so that where the best ideas win out, in which our goals are to have meaningful work and meaningful relationships. They're equally important, okay? In other words, be great at work and be great at the relationships part, because that's important. And to do that through radical truthfulness and radical transparency. So radical truthfulness means that we say what we think and we try to get past it. And radical transparency means that everybody can see it, pretty much everything. So we tape things so that everybody can see anything that's going on, so it's brought to the surface. So the way this idea meritocracy works is you got to do three things. First, you have to put your honest thoughts on the table. Whatever you're thinking, put them on the table. I put them on the table. That means if you think I'm not good at something, put it on the table. I'll do it, put it on the table, and we'll look at it together. Second.
That sounds pretty hard. So
it's not hard. You know what's hard? If you look at the second order consequences rather than the first order consequences, what's harder is living with the consequences of not doing that.
When you do it in the context of interpersonal relationships, including the ones at work, that's where most people think it is incredibly difficult. To say to someone, like, it's easier to say to me, maybe easier to say to you, because we like to think, and I'm sure we're not completely right about that either, but that we have less of an ego. I have a big ego in other ways, no question about that. But you can criticize me, and I'm not too worried about it. Okay, and I take that as positive for myself. But other people who are not used to it, if you have to tell them you're not good at this.
So
that's really tough.
So let me ask you just to carry it through cerebrally. So first question, let's imagine we're having somebody sitting here and we're asking them a question. First question, Jake, which is more effective? Which is the better way to be?
Which is the
better way to be. In other words, is it better to be able to speak that way and do that? Or is it better not to? Are you going to have a better life if you do that? Or should you do that speak openly and work that way? Or should you not? A or B? Which is it? Which is going to be more effective?
Well, it depends on what your goals are.
Well, I'm saying, but
because if my goal is to run a better company, I'm sure you're right. But if my goal is to not hurt their feelings.
No, but I think that when you deal with the dishonesty of not hurt their feelings, you're going to be making judgments about people, okay? And those will be in your mind, and they may be right and they may be wrong. And I'm saying if I was the person at the other end here who's asking you what I want to know, I would want to know, okay, because then you could work that through. Because the misunderstanding and all of those judgments is going to be a problem in efficiency and a problem in trust and so on. If we had a partnership and you knew that I was going to be totally truthful with you, and you're going to be totally truthful with me, okay? And that partnership, by the way, can include personal relationships. If you know, okay, listen, there's not going to be anything hidden and we're going to do it, but we can work through that. That is the more effective. You stated what the barrier is. The barrier is an emotional barrier. It's not a logical barrier. You would want to be that way. So if you know that being that way is going to make you more successful, and you now have just an emotional barrier, maybe that'll prompt you to say, I better deal with that emotional barrier that is standing in my way of being as effective as I could be. In the relationships of the people that I have, I don't even think, they know that they can trust in truth. They know that what I'm saying is there. They know that we can deal with it together in terms of looking at it. They know that when I'm making a judgment, I also am approaching it that I don't know that I'm right about that judgment, and that and then they can hear it and we can have the back and forth and so on. That has allowed us to get through, to create a better relationships. I'm having much better relationships. It may not be at that moment, there might be a discomfort that we have to work ourselves through. But when you have trust in that kind of honesty in that relationship. Man, now let me tell you, you be a partner of mine in any way, in life or in business, and you're not that way, it's not going to work, okay? Because if I doubt your truth, so it improves efficiency because it gets it all on the table, okay? And don't be such a wimp about talking about it, okay? In other words, yeah, oh, it's uncomfortable, oh, it's uncomfortable. Let's get past that uncomfort and try to deal with what we're really thinking to get better. And it builds that trust and builds better relationships.